Hi, welcome everyone to the ITVoice Tech News channel. Today we have the privilege of having Mr. Samiran Gupta, VP Stakeholder Engagement and Managing Director, Asia Pacific at ICANN. So welcome to the channel.
Thank you so much.
So thank you for taking the time and talking with us. So let's get started. If you could tell our audience about ICANN's engagement with government and stakeholders across the APAC region.
Sure. So if you've actually focused on ICANN's strategic plan, you will see that we've got very specific goals that has been built in consultation with the community, and our focus is to execute on those goals and to make sure that we make meaningful impact when we are executing those goals. So when it comes to the governments in the region, we actually have it's like a soft or a informal coordination with the regional governmental advisory committee members, and so we call that the APAC grouping, and and they again bring issues to the table that is far more relevant to this region for discussions, and wherever possible we support those. When it comes to the technical community, again, as part of our as part of the strategic plan, there are some very specific objectives that we have, whether it is on capacity building in the technical side, or whether it is to help implement, for example, universal acceptance, or even to work with, let us say, academia in these areas. So we've got some very specific initiatives that we propose to carry out.
So how can emerging digital economies like India is a growing economy, it's a developing country, but now we are at the cusp of it. So what is India's growing role in the global internet governance system?
So there are two aspects to this. When it comes to internet governance, we do see Indian voices getting represented, but this is a process. It's a continuous process. You can't imagine that, now that we've got, for example, a board member at ICANN from India, or people leading certain working groups, committees, or being very engaged, that you don't need to do anything else. No, this is an ongoing process. We need to see more new, the next generation of leaders emerging from India and elsewhere in the Asia Pacific region. Okay. Now, there's another aspect, I would say, while this is on internet governance, where India can really contribute is in getting more engaged in standards creation, which is not in the ICANN space, but it's still quite relevant to internet governance.
So first of all, congratulations on this amazing ICANN 85.
Thank
we
you
were
so
amazed
much.
by the scale of it, and everyone had good comments. So what were the most significant outcomes and policy discussions, if you could tell, at the ICANN 85?
So the focus at ICANN 85, coming into ICANN 85 and moving on from ICANN 85, if I were to say what were the two top things, one is the next round of the new GTLD program, and the second would be the what we call DNS abuse mitigation. Okay, so there's been progress on the next round. Obviously, as you may be already aware, the next round opens on 30th April, and it'll remain open till 13th of August. And so industry, the domain name industry was here, and there were all kinds of discussions that they led, leading, which will contribute to the next round. As far as DNS abuse mitigation is concerned, I think there were some very good discussions, both at the GAC and elsewhere, where the issue of how well or how effectively can the contracted parties from ICANN, which is the registrars in particular, help mitigate these challenges.
Exactly. So with the advancement in AI and the rising cybersecurity, DNS abuse was something that
Yeah.
definitely was something to look upon. My next question would be for our audience: what role does ICANN play in ensuring the stability, security, and the resilience of the global internet infrastructure?
So that is principally our core remit, to maintain the security, stability, and resiliency of the global internet system, and that focus is on what we call the domain name system, or the DNS, and how the DNS is performing, how it is behaving, how it is serving people, what are the threats that may occur, and how do you mitigate those threats. So that's our principal and focus role, and that's what keeps this, interoperable internet alive and working. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but yes, that's our main role.
Yeah, it's a multi-stakeholder initiative, multi-stakeholder model. So with the increasing discussion around digital sovereignty, with the DPDP Act coming in, how can the multi-stakeholder model continue to remain effective?
So the multi-stakeholder model is a platform where all stakeholders engage in on equal footing. Okay, so whether it's a technical community, the end users, the governments, academia, everybody is discussing issues in the effort to create policies that serve everyone or the users. Okay, however, when you refer to a specific act of a nation, in this case you've talked about the Digital Data Protection Act of India, that is India specific, and when that act was created, there was a fair bit of multi-stakeholder discussions that took place. So we don't see one necessarily negating the other. India has been very proactive in having, or let's put it this way, the government of India has been very proactive in getting stakeholders engaged in those discussions when this act was being created.
With your experience across ICANN and previous role, how do you see the intersection of technology, policy, and governance evolving? And just to follow question, what are the key policy challenges that government face while balancing innovation with the digital regulation? DPDP Acts and with the digital regulation that has come up.
So the second part, I would say you should ask government, not me. I should be speaking on behalf of the government. But the first part is, I think whether it's industry, whether it's government, whether it's the end user. Well, if you leave the end users on the side, but if it's industry and government and technology, everybody is trying to figure out what is the best use of technology, where it is effective, efficiently used, and it's you kind of reduce the ability for misuse.
So as our audience, what more I can in my capacity, what more my audience can do to support a more open, secure, and interoperable internet?
So your audience, what they can do, I suppose, is they can do several things. One is, of course, participate in internet governance conversations. In whichever role they are. If they're the end user, there are mechanisms for them to get engaged. If they're the technical community, there are places for them to get engaged. So it is very important for, I think the message over here I would give is, it's very important for users to understand how the internet works and where it comes from. Okay, it's just not an item on your phone bill. There are technologies that provide it, and it's very uniquely governed, and there's a possibility for more people to engage in governing that process.
Thank you for sharing thoughts. This interview would itself help people understand how the internet works and pique their interest on what ICANN is, and maybe they go and learn more about it. And we at WHOIS will always do a step to ensure we create awareness about ICANN and other initiatives.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for it.